Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome. Have a special guest here on According to Hip Hop Live today. Love Jesse, formerly known from the group Watch the Duck. A lot of us, those down here in Atlanta and Georgia and Alabama, are familiar with you. Before we get into your music, you were born and raised in Alabama in Montgomery, correct? Okay. What are your before we get into anything else, what are your takes on the infamous Alabama Brawl?
Uh, Pride and joy. Um,
Explain. Elaborate on that thought. Let me pour up a little something for you while we.
Pride and joy, and a sense of relief for the ancestors. And I'll say the reason why is before you get to the racial part of it, just the truth of it. Like, okay, in truth, that dock where that fight happened, been
Okay.
my whole life. They remodeled it a few times, but it's been there my whole life. One boat that goes there. That boat is called the Harriet Tubman. Like, it used to be called the Marianne or something like that when I was a kid.
Oh, so this is inside information.
But it's called the Harriet Tubman. Like, that's where the fight happened.
The boat is called the Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, the boat is
not
called
the dock.
Harriet Tubman.
Okay, the boat.
But the dock is made for specifically Harriet. The only boat that's ever been there my entire life. Whatever they called the boat at the time. Like, it's not a place where, like, when people think about, oh, it's a river and, you know, people's boat was blocking and they didn't move. Like, you think about other places where you go where people dock boats or park boats. That's not that. That place at the Alabama River, like, you go to that boat and they take you on a boat tour of the Alabama River. You drive down a little bit, you come back. Only boat that's ever there. Right now, while we're talking, that boat is.
That boat's still sitting right there.
So I want to say that. So the people who were blocking the boat, Donald Trump had just left or whatever. They don't even live in Montgomery.
Okay.
They were there just being them. Let's say they wanted
Disrespectful is
disrespectful.
Okay.
Wanted to make the Harriet Tubman park in its spot, regardless of what it was about to do next.
Okay. So there was so there's an intentionality to the disrespectful move because of the context of what the boat means and represents.
So,
Right.
I don't really follow it because I'm actually from Montgomery.
Right.
So I have seen some things of people like, well, I'll get to that in a minute. So I want to start with that.
Okay.
Now, it just so happened that these are, I guess, non-black people, non-people of color or whatever, and they chose to act in a way that, these people that work there, essentially they were defending city property, if you really think about it, because they were workers who were trying to tell these people, hey, move, whatever. This boat that's supposed to be here, trying to be here. They've been waiting. So I'll get, so once the fight broke out, just so happened that it's black on white. Now, I said black and white.
Do you think that's a happenstance though? Okay.
I'll say because I'm saying it this way for a reason. Because I feel like the fight is right versus wrong.
Good.
First and foremost.
Good. There's the human race first.
Before people get to race war and all that type of stuff, it's right versus wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The black guy who was fighting worked for the dock. He was there doing his job, and these other people were being other people in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So now once the fight breaks out, that's where you get into the black and white and the happenstance of these white people, for whatever reason, chose to start this fight. And then what's indicative of Montgomery and what gives me such pride and joy is the way that I was raised by my grandparents and my grandmother and them. Whenever you see something racial in Montgomery, Alabama, we did not start it. We're not raised to start it, raised to finish it. Because you have to realize our ancestors couldn't. And I don't want to get off track. I stay on track so that I'm making sense as I'm talking about why I say I have such pride in what happened.
No, you're making perfect.
It's not the violence or like, oh, black people beating white people. No. Because we didn't go looking for anything. These people didn't even wake up that day thinking, oh, we finna go beat somebody up. No, they saw one of their coworkers, one of their friends being wronged and being jumped, and they came to his defense. Now, with that being said, okay, go ahead.
Let me just ask you something before you go too far. And I love the way that you're disseminating this and breaking it down.
Mm-hmm.
And let's stay here for a second. We can get to the music in a moment because I think this is culturally important for us
It is.
to discuss and unpack these things.
I steal them from it.
And you have, will you have some inside information that those of us that are not from the area don't know, and even historically about some of the things that you're breaking
in place my whole life.
Well, let's get into the psychology. What would make this group of people who are not of color, like us, what would empower them on a day like this to do something like that and attempt to do what they do to the man? Because I want to get into the psychology of what's wrong too.
As I answer this question, I have to say I was physically in the city. I just so happened to be in Montgomery visiting my mom, so I was 5 minutes away, but I was not there.
Okay.
But if it's my, just put my 2 cents in what I think and embolden them to make that decision, it's because Donald Trump had just left. Donald Trump was in the city and whoop de whoop. And I'm not blaming it on Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump didn't say, "Hey, y'all, block the Harriet Tubman from parking." No, these people decided that's what they're gonna do. Now I want to get back to where I was and even saying what I'm saying. The reason why it gave me such pride is being a Southerner. I do feel like there's a certain amount of our consciousness as Black people in the South, whether we want to admit it or not, that is still yearning to break out of some of the bondage that we've been put in. And I'm not harping on slavery. Slavery was a very long time ago. I was not a slave. But Jim Crow, all these other things that have still the consciousness of the South.
No, there's still a submissive frame of mind.
I feel like that was a let my people go moment for people. That's why it gives me such pride and joy. Because of the circumstance that just so happened to be these city workers having to defend themselves against these aggressors who just so happen to be, Caucasian or whatever. And then things happened. Pause. At that exact spot where that boat is docked, that area of the Alabama River is where the slaves were brought up from Mobile. Because the Alabama River is the Coosa and the Tallapoosa River go join together right above Montgomery, not far from where that happened, like a little bit upriver. All that downriver, it goes to Mobile, to the Gulf of Mexico, slaves. Okay. So that situation where Black people fighting on the dock, many moons, I'm sure that's the first time or something like that swung in our favor. We wouldn't even do anything wrong ever happened. That's why it gives me such pride and joy. Because, so when you get off that boat, where they were fighting and where people were filming, if you walk right up and you get onto the land, like right there, now they've made that into the river walk. So it's like an underground and stuff like that. People throw parties and stuff. But if you take all that away, essentially, as land, let's say this is the land, this is the boat, this is the river, get off land. You walk. Now it's buildings there now, the Renaissance Hotel and clubs and alley bar and stuff, but essentially straight line to the city square of Montgomery, like right there. Now that's like, and it's there, like that's where the Lynching Museum, all that stuff is around there. It's a circle, and that's where they sold the slaves. And they called the slaves, they called the selling of the slaves Jubilee. It was called Jubilee. To this day in Montgomery, it's a big time of the year, like where they throw parties and concerts. I think Jubilee City Fest goes on, but I know what was going on when I was there. They called it Jubilee City Fest. So I'm giving you all this backstory, not to take over the conversation. I want you to, ask me more questions, but I'm giving this for people who don't know anything about it, but just have something to say about the violence and stuff like that. Or, well, I've seen some people, well, this lady got hit with a chair. Okay, that's messed up. They didn't have to get hit with a chair if they had just not been doing nothing stupid, but I digress. But at the same time, any time that white people have beat up Black people in that same dock, those Black people didn't go home. Not in that city. They didn't just go to jail or go home with a black eye or be embarrassed or have a court case. Nah, they didn't go. Like, any time that something like that has ever happened in my hometown, somebody died. Most people died. Like, people wouldn't have just jumped in the river just to tread water to wait on the fight to be over. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Even if that same situation had happened in my city when my parents were younger or something like that, Black people defend themselves, beat up 4 white people, they still be tracking the people down to lynch them right now. So I feel like that's the part where people have to look at the full context of it. That's why people are celebrating. That's why you see me and my like I was at my homeboy house when all that was happening. So that was gonna play by play. You man, that dog. Y'all wanna ride down? Because everybody was just full of joy, like get him, because bro.
Okay, let me ask you something. Let's pause. Let's juxtapose a couple things. So we're speaking to a couple things. We're speaking to the identifiable trope that, oftentimes a white man with wealth, affluence, and power, his greatest trick per se is to convince people of his own skin color that he's not their main oppressor, and they feel emboldened to do things that are beyond their morality and physicality means, I guess I would say. And then you have the side of us that's feeling oppressed still in a lot of ways, psychologically and in reality, like you're saying, because when you're saying, oh, this has never happened for us like this here before, but that speaks to the level of oppression that, like you said, has really nothing to do with slavery, has nothing to do with freedom, has more to do with right and wrong and just human decency and human rights. Now, what do you feel about how it has kind of gone viral on social media and become almost like a laughing point for some in terms of how it's been disseminated? Because you're addressing some very serious things, and in our community, I think we're taught, because of all the pain that we've been through, to laugh, to keep from crying.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find this issue to be very serious, but I find when I go online, it's our people taking it as a joke, which is fine in some instances. I'm just not sure if this is the instance. So tell me what you...
I'm telling us with you. All the people that's joking about it, joke on. It's funny as hell. Like me and my friends joke because to the point of what you're saying, that's why I started this by saying this did not start as a racial thing. It just so happens to be a racial thing. And the reason why I say that is because I can't speak towards what truly made the group of white individuals in the boat started. I can use my context clues, but I know how people can be like, no, that's not what we meant. Okay, whatever. But that's also why I said, no, there's only one boat that's ever there. That's ever
right. No, I hear what you're saying.
It's so I'm saying it in that way to where, okay, yes, we all know why them people was right there. But I'm just saying in the context of argument, debate, it comes down to it. It happened to be a racial thing at a very hot racial spot where we were able to get some vengeance for the ancestors. So yes, it's a very serious thing, but I do think our people should play with it and joke with it and laugh with it, because this wasn't a bunch of people fighting oppression. No, this was a bunch of people. Really, this was one guy trying to tell some other people, hey man, y'all not supposed to be here. They jumped him, and then a bunch of other people said, nah.
Not in our town.
Not in our town. That's what it was. So to be honest with you, and nobody died.
So so you feel the black and white is happenstance, or do you feel that America's biggest problem, which is
I can't blame that on America. I can't even blame that on Donald Trump. I can just, in my personal opinion, I just blame that on a boat full of dumb people.
Yep. So this is an ignorance thing.
And so to take it from that and turning it into, to your point, because I get what you're saying and I respect it, but to let those people put us in the space to where now we mad and we got to talk about the oppression, and that's no, what's that? Like, straight up, y'all wrong. Like, y'all just wrong.
Right.
And then people gave y'all some straightening. That's all it was. And it just so happened to help, I think, appease some of the deeper and darker and more serious injustices that have occurred in that same place.
Okay.
Look at that. Nobody saw that happening.
Well, I'll leave it with this, and then we can get to the music. I don't believe in accidents or coincidence.
Me either.
So
that's why I
you
get
say
great.
When you speak to the pride and joy, it's like, there's a part of me, well, to kind of just put it simply in my words, well, about damn time.
About.
So.
And we still exhibited class. The worst y'all could say is that a woman got hit in the head with a chair. Tell you what didn't happen. Nobody got chained to the back of a truck and driven up and down the street and then castrated and then hung from a tree and set on fire.
Or tarred and feathered.
While people barbecued and took pictures of it.
Right.
That didn't happen. Somebody who was out of line got their ass whooped.
Yeah.
Worst thing that happened.
You know, there used to be pictures of us as alligator bait.
So they went low. We still went high. They just got their ass whooped in the process. That's what I think.
So that being said, you are from Montgomery. Tell me what the music scene is like in Montgomery and how you got your start in music. Because you're a few different things. You're an artist, but I believe you're also like a producer. Mm-hmm. You're also a writer. Yeah. So tell me how you got your start and what your influences are. Because I hear a lot of things when I hear your music, solo and the stuff that you did with Watch the Duck. Like I hear a lot of different Atlanta influences for me as somebody that was raised here, but also hear a lot of soul and rock influence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
It's going to really, I'm starting talking about my musical influences. Church is first. Gospel is my first love and will always be.
Okay.
I'm a church kid. I've been singing in the choir since I was 2. Little Baptist Church and First Baptist Church, Greater Washington Park. Like that was me. My dad is a blues man. My dad loves the blues. He loves Bobby Bland, B.B. King.
Yeah.
My mom is an R&B lady. She loves Earth, Wind and Fire, Luther Vandross, Anita Baker, you know, all that type of stuff. So that's what I grew up listening to that. And I idolized Atlanta. You know, like I'm a 80s baby, 90s kid raised in the 90s. So, you know,
ditto.
Booty Shake, Raheem the Tree,
Uncle Luke,
Kilo Ali.
Yeah.
Uncle Luke, and I guess, you know, Alabama, like we never really had our own big scene. So I feel like we were like a cup that everybody just poured their stuff into. Okay. So, you know, as far as like hip hop and stuff, like I'm a Southern hip hop fan. Like I love hip hop altogether, and I've grown and now I like all hip hop. But my Mount Rushmore of hip hop, all of them from the South. You know, so
what's
like
your Mount Rushmore, right?
Outkast, Dungeon Family first and foremost.
Okay.
Like Outkast, Goody Mob. That's what I meant. Outkast, Goody Mob.
I hear the Goody. I hear a lot of the Goody in what you do.
Outkast, Goody Mob forever, man. Like really, legitimately, you know, people say their top 2 rappers usually are like Biggie and Nas, or Pac and Biggie, or Jay-Z and Nas, or whatever. Mine, truthfully, is 3 Stacks and Cee-lo. Those are my favorite 2 rappers.
So can we pause right quick?
Yeah.
I hear the 3 Stacks and the Cee-lo.
Those are
like, because I can hear the soul food influence.
Yeah.
And I can hear the Stankonia influence in what you do. So was that accurate assessment? Just to listen to your music, I hear Stankonia.
Nah.
I hear soul food. I hear the Cee-lo vibe, like all the way.
Man. Oh, no. Like Cee-lo is my dude. Like,
I can tell.
I can tell Cee-lo later.
Yeah, I can tell.
Because I've been called like a fake Cee-lo. I wanted to be like Cee-lo. Like, nah. I just study them a lot. Like, Cee-lo helped me, because I have a voice that sounds old school or whatever. And like Cee-lo helped me understand how to modernize my voice without feeling like it's a throwback.
Right.
Like same way that like people like Al Green or Stevie Wonder, like I listen to certain artists.
Well, KC from Jodeci.
Yeah,
he had
Drew Hill was my
Cisco.
Cisco is my guy.
Yeah.
Before he really thought he was a real dragon, he was my dude.
you know, he used to come into the airport where I used to work. He's actually really, really nice.
Nah, I'm just messing with him. He seemed like I met him one time in London. He's a really cool dude.
He is. He's really nice.
But nah, so like those are my influences, and then gospel, and then I was an R&B guy. I loved R&B. Like I used to buy.
Who's your guy?
Honestly, it's changed over time. But I mean, I love like Gerald Levert, Boyz II Men, Jodeci.
Okay.
I guess you can't say it, man. I was a huge R. Kelly fan growing up.
Ditto.
You know what I'm saying? We're the music.
Yeah.
He was a genius.
I've said he's that next step down from like Prince and Michael Jackson.
But then you gotta understand, like Usher was my dude. Like I wanted to be like Usher. Like when he took them shoes off and they made me want a video, like I couldn't do it with the shoes, but church socks on the kitchen floor, come see me, Usher. But then like to me, it was always a voice thing. So I loved R&B and stuff, but you know, people like Dalen Collins, Fred Hammond.
Okay.
Now, if people don't know who Dalen Collins is, if you are familiar with Kirk Franklin and the Family, if you love the song Conquerors or Let Me Touch You and See If You Were Real, Dalen Collins is the guy singing that song. I love Dalen Collins. I love voices. I love like those gospel voices. And then I kind of got into hip hop as I grew up, because believe it or not, my mom wouldn't let me listen to hip hop when I was a kid. Okay. So my only tape by NWA was a song they had called We All in the Same Gang or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like real church family. So, but then when I got to 7th grade, you know, your parents can't really control you like that. And my mom and them was strict. They just didn't want me to be listening to, you know, bitches and hoes and all that type of stuff and nigga. And like, you know, that generation, again, Montgomery, Alabama, 1952. There's no cool way to call somebody a nigga to my mama. You know what I'm saying? Like she just don't understand. So Tupac and all that was just like, no, he got tattoos. And like, again, side note, I'm from that South where that meant something. Like, if you saw grills weren't fashion, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Grills
I
weren't
know exactly
fashion
what you're talking about.
A dude that had a grill and tattoos, you knew what it was.
Yep. It was something totally different than what it is.
They wanted you to know, yep. Everything you think I am,
this is the life.
This the life I live.
Yep.
That's why I have a tat right here, Old Gold Grill. I ain't got 9 to 5. But anyway.
Correct. Because you couldn't have a 9 to 5 back then with the grills and the tattoos.
Not in the South. Not in the South.
No.
So.
Especially down here.
Yeah, so that was a choice. That wasn't just like, oh, look at my grill, shout it. Nah.
Like it was a life choice. That was a life choice. Yeah, it was a lifestyle choice.
Use it. So, but anyway, that was my childhood. But then like when I got into Outkast and Goody Mob were like the first 2 rappers that I actually loved too, because I like songs and they made great songs.
Agreed.
And I can articulate that now. I know that was as a kid.
Right. You didn't realize how full and encompassing those songs were when we were younger, and then you go back and you're like, that's why I love those songs. They were making full complete records. They were using live instrumentation.
Yes.
And so can totally understand that.
Like Goody Mob came out, I was at the 50th. We'll get to that. But anyway.
Let me ask you a quick question, sidebar. What do you think of Arrested Development? Because I got some
Arrested Development vibes. My bad.
I can tell.
See,
I can tell.
Yeah.
So I was right there. I can hear the speech and the Arrested Development. Like all of that. Yeah, it was heavy.
And movies. One of my biggest musical influences are from movies. Like sitting around watching Ghostbusters. And, you know, I'm a guy who I literally went to college because of School Days in a Different World.
I went to college because of a different world. It made me believe I could go to school.
Dead ass.
Dead ass. No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, Hillman. It was like, oh yeah. No. I was like, yes, we can. It was also
I'm doing that. I want to go do that.
Like I'm capable.
Yeah.
I see some of me in these people. It's like I can go.
I really do. And I'll be cool with either Kim or Freddie or with
I
want one of them.
Yep. Pick one. Pick one.
What?
Yeah.
It was all.
Look, my taste was changing, okay?
That's what it is. So that's why I wanted to graduate, and I went to Alabama A&M. But when I got to junior high school, that's when I really dug into rap, because my brother is the reason why I'm a huge Outkast fan. We was on the boulevard in Montgomery. Just washed his car. He had this box Chevy, box model Oldsmobile. It was in 3rd grade, and he pulled out into the boulevard. Southern Playlist that came on. I thought it was the funkiest, coolest thing. And I felt cool around my old brother.
Yep. And you lean back.
And I'm just like, yeah. I've been on the boulevard my whole life. I ain't never been on this thing like this. You know, so
no, it was different.
That was my introduction to, and I love funk. Like Sly and the Family Stone was like my favorite band. So I mean, I'm probably getting caught up. So it's essentially, that was my growth in music. Like that's why I love soul, funk. Those are my 2 core things, because it's gospel. Oh, Babyface. You know, like Babyface is my guy. So
I think he might be the best songwriter
ever. Babyface is the greatest songwriter ever.
Yeah.
Like that's not an opinion. Like that's the truth.
Yeah.
Like Babyface.
I think it's a definite.
Babyface is legitimately the best person to ever.
Nobody can write another song for somebody else the way that he can. I know.
Babyface is the best.
Okay.
Like for real.
So hold on, I got another question for you, but I want to throw another group at you. Sly and the Family Stone fan?
Yeah, that's my favorite band of all time.
I hear it.
That's my favorite.
No. See, I can hear your musical inspirations, like through your music. So it's like when I'm listening to your stuff, like when I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh, I hear Sly. I hear his development.
My
I hear good.
favorite artist. It's like my favorite band of all time is Sly and the Family Stone. Yeah. Like for real. Because
I can hear it.
It's just the way they approach. I like people who approach music a certain way.
Right.
And the way they do it and the way they put it together, but then it's still like weird, but everybody can love it. Like that's why I love Kanye so much. That's why I love Pharrell so much. Like you're so you, but it's still for the masses. It's not like so deep that you gotta, You know, like not,
Right.
you know what I'm talking about?
It doesn't always have to be that deep.
Nah, it's like, it's still
Sometimes
fun.
it needs to be fun and just feel good.
But if you really want to break that jive down, like, wow, that is a high level of taste and skill.
So that brings me to my next question. Is it's like, well, who's name some of the people that you worked with and who was probably your most enjoyable experience to work with? Because I believe you've worked with the likes of Pharrell, T.I.
That was an incredible experience.
Yeah. So tell me,
I don't have a bad experience working with nobody. So
tell me some of your more memorable ones, or something that stands out to you, even if just because of the moment or because of the memory.
okay, I'll give you 3.
Okay.
Okay. In the order that they happened to. So first, Cee-lo.
Okay.
Cee-lo blew my mind. First of all, I got a chance to work with Cee-lo, and it was through KP, Kawan Prather. It was through him. He set it up when we were signed as Watch the Duck. Cee-lo was working on the album over in Atlantic, and he was in Eleuthera in the Bahamas. We flew out there for a week to work with him like this. He had his house or whatever, and we did 2 songs. One of them was called "She's a Christian." That is a song that I presented to Cee-lo. I played him like the first verse and the hook, and then he and I finished it together. He did the second verse, and he added this girl named Val, and it's amazing. But he never put it out. But it's incredible, incredible. Please blow this. If you want to hear a song called "She's a Christian," now I'm dead serious, like for real. If you don't even play none of the other interview, play this part. Like, it's a song that we made called "She's a Christian." It is the most jamming song ever, man. Cee-lo has it. Like, we just texted about it like 6 months ago or whatever. He has it.
When was this recorded?
And I don't want to tell y'all that because I'm going to date it.
Okay.
But, and it don't really matter because it's classic.
I mean, it's timeless if it's timeless.
Okay, so that was, and I'll tell you why. It was a surreal experience because we stayed for a week. So I got to hang out with Cee-lo. I'm a Gemini. Like, that's another reason why, like, these are certain artists I'm drawn to. Like, Cee-lo's birthday is like 2 days after mine. And so we just got to, like, kick it. And he just embraced me. Like, he liked my voice. He was like, yeah, you know, me and you know, just the similarities and just how he treated me. And then watching him work, watching him just freestyle and just go off the dome. And at the time, we were just getting into Watch the Duck. So I was just coming into my own as not just a songwriter, but as a songwriter writing for myself. So it was cool to see one of my first idols, how he just did it. So that really, really helped me and shaped me and grew me and changed me. And oh yeah, we did another record with him that we put on our "Don't Watch Me" mixtape, or "Watch the Duck." That we put this out in 2014, and it's called "I Lied." Cee-lo wrote that song, and I re-recorded it. So anyway, that was the first experience. Second experience was watching The Dream. We used to be signed to Tricky Stewart,
The great songwriter as well.
and The Dream changed my life. Like, before him, I used to really like overthink records when it was time for me to go in the studio. And side note, I used to be like a staff producer for the Knowles family. That's Watch the Duck. We were called the Bama Boys first. We were a production team signed to Matthew Knowles. So during that time, you know, Dream blew up, and like our key to the outside world was always Solange. Because Solange went to work with everybody, and she's incredible herself. So she used to come back talking about how Dream don't write songs. He just goes in the booth. So all us stopped writing in the studio. Like, it was just making a bunch of whack songs, just trying to be like The Dream. But then, so when I got my record deal and I got to actually, you know, I developed a little bit more. This is 2013. Because Tricky and had the house in Encino. That's where the studio. And I got to watch Dream do it. It hit me different. I was like, man, it's not that he don't write. He trusts himself. You know, just watching him do it.
Explain that.
He trusts himself. He
Further.
doesn't overthink the music. He's been writing music all his life. He knows he's a fucking genius, which he is. And he does what comes to his mind. He doesn't overthink it. Like, he trusts himself. I mean, that's the best I can say it without trying to break down somebody's process, because he may not want everybody know that.
Right.
But that's how I interpret.
That was your take on it.
Yeah, he trusts himself. And so we were just about to start working on the mixtape, the Don't Watch Me mixtape, when we were out there. And then when we went back to Atlanta, I was like, I'm finna do this too. Like, now I get it. It's not about freestyling. It's about trusting it. Trust what you hear. Like, trust it. I've been writing songs. You've been,
right.
And if it's whack, it's whack.
If it sounds good, it's good.
Yeah, if it feels good. So anyway, that was the second experience. And the third was watching Pharrell. Pharrell is really the greatest. Like, there's a lot of greatest of all time, but like Pharrell is like legit the greatest. Like that, I look at Pharrell like Yoda, dead ass. We were signed to I Am Mother for a minute, and we didn't get to work with Pharrell every day or shadow him or nothing. We probably worked with him. We was in the studio with him probably about 6, 7 times. But I still use those sessions of things that I learned just from little stuff that he'll say or stuff that he does. And see, like, he's my favorite producer. Like, I never wanted to be a producer until the Neptunes came out.
Okay.
Those are my favorite producers, them and Organized Noise.
I know a lot of people who feel that way.
They're the best. I mean, with respect to Timbaland, Dr. Dre, so many other people, man, but
Right.
those are my guys because Pharrell's soulful. He used to sing with his hooks, and I wanted to sing my hooks. So I was like, oh, he made the beat too? Well, I was like, well, I want to learn how to make beats too. You know, that's really what happened. It was like Mr. Me Too. So, ironic, that's one of their songs. But anyway, I was just young.
People don't know that was about Wayne.
Oh, I did know that. But
Yeah, you probably knew that.
I don't want to talk about that because I love both of them people. So anyway, going into the studio with Pharrell, you hear all these different sounds, and Neptune's got their own sound, and it sounds like they're using stuff like, where are these getting these sounds? They're the stock sounds. And like watching Pharrell do that, it's like, Pharrell, dog. Like, you really can like go to Guitar Center, buy a laptop, download Logic, get a MIDI keyboard, and Pharrell's gonna give you those beats. It's not like some special patch or like, oh man,
He's not using some secret formula that nobody else is using.
Nope.
He's using the same stuff people.
No.
My cousin was a producer. We used to go to Guitar Center and go get the MIDI and go get the laptop and go get that.
Bro,
he
will dead ass make those records with just the factory records. He's just that good.
Right.
He's and more so good. He's just that. He doesn't use the sounds the way that you would use it. And it's like just watching him do that over and over and over again. It's like, man, so it's no secret, you know, because I've been around a lot of different producers and they make the process seem so complicated, or like this part, like, yeah, these my, but like with Pharrell, it was just like, man, yeah, man.
Done.
Pharrell. And I was just like, wow, I needed to see that, man, because I'm not trying to compare myself to Pharrell, but I'm like that. Like, I don't like to do all that. I just want to go what I feel until I don't feel it, and then hear, okay, you hear something? You know, and just like make it like the thing that makes it come alive is what's in your soul.
Right.
And watching him do that, it just gave me a lot of confidence. Like, man, I'm on the right track. I was meant to be, even if we don't stay signed to you, I was meant to see this because it's really helped me.
Learning and growth.
Yeah.
So hip hop, as you know, just celebrated its 50th anniversary. What did you personally do for Hip Hop 50 this year?
I went to the concert with my lady friend.
Which concert?
The free one in the Atlanta 50.
Yeah, the Atlanta 50.
Yeah, I went there.
How was it? How was the performance?
Man, it was dope. We got there at the end just enough time to see Earth Gang.
I'm a big fan of Earth.
Pastor Troy, Goody Mob, and Tip. Oh yeah, and I like working with Tip too.
I'm about to say, you worked with Tip as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Tip is honestly like one of those people who, you know his music, but until you're in the studio with Tip, you don't even really know how truly talented he is. Like, Tip's a beast.
I mean, in my opinion, he's the most versatile MC to ever come out the South. So,
to be real with you, he's not just an MC; he's an incredible songwriter. Tip's an incredible songwriter. Like, there are people who are MCs, but then there are people who like are songwriters.
No, he can top
both.
He can top to bottom write the song like a living.
Yeah, like Future. Like, he's both. Like some people are just.
I agree.
They're just both, man.
Well, I think, you know, he checks a lot of boxes. You know what I mean? He has like the sensibilities of a lot of different regions, but he's still succinctly Southern. Like, he does a little bit of everything, and his songwriting skills, as you say, like he has a range that I don't feel like any Southern artist has. You know, in my opinion, as a rapper, at least on the rap side.
So, you know that. I can rock with you on that.
Now, you released a project that I've been listening to all day today and yesterday called I Just Want to Heal from last year.
Okay.
That I was really, that's where I was getting the Sly and the Arrested Development and the Stankonia and the Soul Food vibes from. But you also just recently released a record and have a new project coming, or can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, bear with me.
Yeah, take your time.
I Just Want to Heal, man, honestly, was a therapy record. It was something.
Sounds like it. It was dope, though.
I was teaching myself to play the guitar, would get better at playing the guitar and bass, and I just had time. We weren't doing Watch the Duck anymore, I was going through stuff, and it was like, let's just make this. And then when I made it, it was like, okay, what do I do with it? Okay, I'm gonna put it up. So I love everybody who listens to it or goes to my Spotify, which is Love Jesse, if you want to hear it. Love, L-O-V-E, Jesse, J-E-S-S-E.
Yeah, I need to check that out. I just want to hear what's
No, I am my name, J-E-S-S-E, Love Jesse. So yeah,
my grandfather's name, by the way, and he spells it exactly that way.
that's what's up. But yeah, so I made that and listened to a lot of Sly Stone and just like playing my stuff. And then some of the newer records that I put out, like Out on the Lake, Good Time with me, myself, and PBD Gray. And what's the name of the song? My Girl Back Home. I call it my Fela Kuti song.
Okay, Fela Kuti. Okay,
It's just,
so you got the range.
it's just it's experimentation. Like
Is it
right now, if I'm super being honest with you, I'm just trying out stuff that I like. And, because I'm a producer and a writer, and like I live for a couple of months and then this is in my mind and I make something, I'm like, ooh, I want to shoot a video to it. Like, so right now, I'm more so just putting myself out there, letting people know me from Watch the Duck, that I'm still active. Please do follow me. And new people, come discover me. I'm going to be more consistent here in the near future, but I really just been testing out what I like. Like I Just Want to Heal, and I loved it for a minute. Then I was like, yeah, I want something with a little bit more energy in it. I had to go live and listen to some music. Then it was like, okay, well, let me try this. I like the blues, or I listen to a lot of Fela Kuti. And I was like, yeah, let me try this, just to see, what I can do and like jump rope or whatever.
For our audience who doesn't know, tell them who Fela Kuti is, because a lot of people are not.
To me, he's the African James Brown.
Correct.
This is what I think.
I think that's like an excellent way to determine it.
That's the best way to surmise him, and to give him props. He is an innovator from Africa of jazz, funk, and soul.
I agree.
Incredible. His music's incredible.
Well, it's a great interview. I actually enjoyed talking to you a whole lot. Before I let you go, tell everybody where we can just find any of your stuff and what you have upcoming next. Are you available on all streaming platforms?
Yes. I am available on all streaming platforms. Love, like love, L-O-V-E, Jesse, J-E-S-S-E. That's me. So it's just Love Jesse. Love Jesse Music. If you're trying to search me on YouTube, Instagram. So yeah, Love Jesse Music across the board. Will bring you right to where I am.
Well, I want to thank you for coming out with us and spending some time with According to Hip Hop. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. All right. Make sure y'all click like and subscribe to the channel.